Hello, everyone, and welcome to Explaining the Unexplainable. I am one of your hosts, Mercedes Lucky Benedict, and I have my amazing co host, Bishop Dr. Joshua Sparks, with me. And I am so happy he's here because we just found out he just went through a tornado most of the day in his location, and it's like actually a miracle that he's here with us. So, thank you, Joshua, for being here with us
It's good to
today.
be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, because we have two amazing return guests, and
Yes,
I am
indeed.
so excited they are here with us. So I'm going to let you do your amazing intro.
All right. Well, tonight the veil thins once again, and there are moments in this work when the familiar world of procedure, evidence, and sworn testimony collides with something stranger, something that refuses to fit inside the boundaries of traditional investigation. And when that collision happens, you want seasoned investigators at the table, people who know how to separate noise from signal, imagination from reality, and fear from fact. That is why tonight is special. We welcome back for their second appearance Marianne and Dave of UAP PD, two phenomenal retired police officers who spent decades navigating the unpredictable, the dangerous, and the unexplained with human behavior. Now they've turned that same sharpened investigative instinct toward a very different frontier. UFOs, UAPs, paranormal activity, and the mysteries that defy conventional explanation. Their return isn't just a reunion, it's a continuation of a conversation that refuses to stay quiet. Because when trained investigators step into the realm of the anomalous, the questions get sharper, the patterns get clearer, and the stories get harder to dismiss. So, Marianne and Dave, your backgrounds give you a unique vantage point. You both spent years interviewing witnesses, reading body language, and discerning truth under pressure. And now you're applying those same skills to encounters that stretch the limits of what most people believe is possible. And that shift alone raises a powerful question. And I want to just start off with the question as we welcome you all here tonight. What was the moment, your personal tipping point, when you realized the unexplained deserved your professional attention? Welcome, both of you, to the program tonight.
Well, thank you, Joshua and Mercedes, having us back. This is great.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for inviting us back.
Yay. We're so
I
thankful.
I'm going to go ahead and let Dave take that question because, unfortunately, I have never seen anything. I've never experienced anything in my life. I'm hoping someday, but I'm going to
Careful
let.
what you wish for.
I know.
Maybe
I know.
tonight. Maybe tonight, Miriam. Maybe tonight's the night.
That'd be cool. But Dave, why don't you tell him?
So that's actually an interesting question the way that you posed it there, Doc. Hope you don't mind if I call you Doc.
I like
Whenever
that.
I see a doctor, I always like Doc.
Hey,
Hey, Doc.
that's perfect. You can call me
All right.
that. That's perfect.
So it's actually interesting because I told you guys my encounter that how we really started UAP PD the last time that we were on. But that really wasn't the moment where I realized, in answer to your question, that I needed to take the skills and the abilities that we had developed over years of decades, actually, of police work to apply them to this arena. That actually happened, believe it or not, when Marianne called me. I know we told you a little bit in our first visit about how she called me after speaking with Alejandro Rojas about if law enforcement encounter these things, why don't they talk? Well, when Alejandro first said, "Hey, you guys really need to create an organization and talk about this," I really didn't want to. And the reason for it is I was still hesitant. Like we talk about the stigmas that first responders face, just like the military and pilots face whenever they encounter it. So it wasn't until a couple days later, and Marianne can attest to this, like I didn't agree right away. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And it wasn't until probably about maybe 4 or 5 days later, I remember sitting at my house thinking about, like, running through my head again, do I really want to go down this road? Do I really want to do this? I mean, I don't know. Because at that time, I was still working as a police officer. I had a couple, maybe like 4 months left in my career until I retired. And so I was really hesitant. But the big tipping point, the big thing that made me realize, hey, no, we really need to do that, was actually thinking back to how I felt back in April of 2017 when it happened to me. And I realized that if it happened to me, it's happening to other people. And those people are in the same boat that I was all those years ago, where I had nowhere to go, no one to talk to, nobody to tell about it, and no resources at my disposal to try and help. And so, really, that big tipping point of we need to take these skills and use them and apply them to help other first responders who have had these encounters came at that moment of, you know what, if this was like an officer that was having a problem with like a foot pursuit or a fight with a suspect on the side of the road, I would not hesitate to get out and go help. That's what we do.
Yeah.
This is just a different kind of fight. And I have the skills we always joke around, Marianne and I will joke around. I've trained in all these different martial arts. I have 2 black belts and all this stuff. So getting into a physical fight doesn't really scare me. I've studied 6 martial arts. I'm trained for that. This fight that we're kind of dealing with now is more of a spirit. I think it's more of a spiritual fight.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in that situation, I slowly realized I have those skills. It's not how to throw a punch. It's how to help somebody negotiate or navigate the stressors, the trauma that they've experienced, help them investigate these things, help them try and come to some sort of conclusion. Maybe it's not the ultimate conclusion, but if it's enough to get them through to a place where they're better, then I owe it to them, just like I owed somebody who I got out of the car if they needed physical help with a fight. I owe it to them in this as well. And so that's really that tipping point. And then I called Marianne and was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh,
Answer.
that's profound. That is really, and
That's me. I'm profound. She won't say that.
She was thinking it.
I don't know if she was thinking something. I don't think it was that.
You know what, Bishop Joshua, because after they were here the last time, that's when I got to actually meet them in person in Oracle, Arizona. So to meet them in person, it's really great. I mean, they did a incredible lecture. It was really wonderful, and they shared some of the stories that they had shared on the podcast, a couple of them, but it's like they got to expand even more. And then they had, visual with them. And it was just a great lecture from both of them. So I love what you said, because since I've met you both, I have really seen, in fact, there was the article, you guys were just in an article in Arizona, or a news report, right? Mm-hmm. We just had the news report. There was somebody else had sent me an article then about somebody else was talking. So I don't know if they were, I'll have to find that again. I don't think it was connected with you. It was just the fact that I think what you're doing is starting to make others see what you're doing and talk. So thank you, because you really had to put yourself out there to do this. And, and I think you're doing a great job. I really do. Thank you.
Well, Mercedes, we are going to hire you to be our publicist. Thank you.
That would be great.
Oh my goodness. You are definitely our cheerleader.
Oh, yay.
It was
not to hire me. I'll just do it. You don't have to pay me.
Good, because we don't have any money.
Yeah,
exactly.
Works for food, right?
We can do that. He is a heck of a chef. Between him and his son, right there.
I got some skills.
Well, see, she did say what she was thinking and what you said, but in different words. So she complimented you about your cooking. Now that's the way to my heart through food. I talk through that. That's my love language, food. I may not be able to cook it, but I sure can put it away. Right?
That's the better of the two.
Mercedes, like you talked about, we did a news interview with up in Phoenix area, Jason Berry, Channel 3, Channel 5. But what was cool is I found out that down there in Tucson, somehow they picked up that story. KOLD, which is, I guess, an affiliate out of Tucson, Southern Arizona. And I'm like, wow, we didn't expect that. But what we're trying to do is get the word out to everybody, all over the parts, Arizona, the whole country, even the whole world. We're just trying to get the word out that we are here. We're here to help. And we'll do whatever we need to do to help another officer or first responder.
Yeah, and go ahead.
One of the things I wanted to also touch on is, first of all, thank you so much for the compliment about our presentation. I know that Marianne and I work really hard on trying to make it like a combination of informative, but also entertaining, so that I want somebody to walk away either going, well, I didn't learn anything, but I had a good time, or, hey, I really learned something, but they were kind of dull. Ideally, if I can get them to walk away going, yeah, they were really entertaining and I learned something, that's ideal.
Yeah.
But just to kind of touch on that, like for your fans that are here in Arizona, we're going to actually be speaking with you over at the Superstition Mountain Museum in October 17th, 18th. One of those.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
It's the 17th,
But then-
Saturday the
yeah.
17th.
And then
17.
and then we're also going to be at Globe Paracon September 26th, and we're going to be up in Vernal, Utah at Phenomicon September 8th through the 12th. So if your fans or your viewers are anywhere near there and they want to come, just come by and say hi, hang out at the table with us, or actually watch one of our presentations. I guarantee you'll laugh. I guarantee you'll laugh.
Well,
and then you probably scare the snot out of you with some stories.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, I think you did perfectly, because it was all of those things. And there is, for people that would like to see that, they did do a really good job at the video. Video presentation of everyone. So you can see that, and it's always good to have that, because you can, make clips of that and have it there for your record. So not for your record, but but just to have it there. But it was really good, and I am so excited to go to the Superstition Mountains one, and it'd be great if I could go to the Globe one. I don't know if I could or not in time, but I think what you're doing is amazing, and the Phenomicon, yeah. And so my friend Brent Thomas, he had gone to, I think, the last two Phenomicons, and he's passed away. And I'm sure that, he would have loved to have gone this year too, had he still been alive, bless his heart. But I will say there is you have a Facebook group. I believe it's a Facebook group. And there are people on that group, because I saw from different countries. So you're definitely reaching out.
We're big in Europe, I like to joke.
Hey, that's great.
I don't think we really are, but for some reason we got a lot of people from Italy, Belgium, things like that are signing up for our Facebook page.
That's great. I mean, seriously, it really is, because we're on the unseen realm, right, Bishop Joshua, and we were just talking, like, how do you get to more people? So you guys are they're coming to you. So it's awesome. I know Joshua's got something to say. I can feel it. Oh, down there.
Enjoying the conversation, because I know last time it was really good. We talk about first responders, but let me ask you something a little bit darker. What about last responders, funeral home workers, people that do death calls and work for medical examiners? Have you got any kind of stories from those types of people?
No, actually, we haven't really explored that yet. Marianne, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, because we've got the closest to that are hospice nurses, because we consider them first responders. We haven't had any morticians or anything else. I mean, that they have some amazing, probably experiences. But because UAP PD is basically, we just concentrate on police officers and the first responders, which are firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, anybody that works the front line, even nurses. There probably is some folks out there. We just haven't gotten any of the stories from those folks. And if we ever do, if anybody's listening and you want to share a story,
yes.
Huh?
Love to hear them.
Yeah, we'd love to hear them. And then if you would like, we could probably reach out to someone else that you can talk to if you want some assistance. If you want to know why is this happening or whatever, we can point you in that right direction on who you should talk to about that. So we would love to hear the stories. We just don't concentrate on anyone other than basically first responders and police officers.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
and
near.
we'll,
It's
we'll
kind of
help
near and
out.
dear to my heart because I was a last responder for many years. So, and of course, there are stories that things we've seen, things we've heard, um, and we work a lot with first responders. When I work for the medical examiner,
Oh, yeah.
anytime there's a wreck, I work for the coroner, wrecks, suicides, murders, um, all kinds of different things. So uh, I've heard lots of stories. So I was just curious, because you never hear much about that. You're
No,
right. They don't come out and talk much about it.
yeah, and you know what? It might not be a bad idea because you're right. I mean, as a former homicide detective, I had the ME's office out there all the time. We were constantly working together. Maybe we should kind of expand a little bit and get some of these stories and see what we can do to help these men and women that are in that role as well.
Yeah,
I
because
mean, we
you
want to help.
wonder,
I do.
do they have an outlet? Who do
Yeah.
they go to? I
Who
mean,
do they go?
it's
Yeah.
but it's interesting talking about the last responders. We have at least we've got two officers in different parts of the country where they were on a I don't think one was, I believe, a homicide scene. The other one was, I think, a natural cause death. But there was no electricity at the house. So as they were waiting for the ME's office or the coroner or a mortuary to show up, all of a sudden in that room where that person that was deceased, a light was on. There is no
Powers the
electricity
house.
in that house.
Wow.
Wow.
And twice we have two calls or two reports from officers that said they're standing on the outside waiting and there's a light upstairs. In
One of them
only
in Tucson, because
Wow.
one was in Tucson, the other one was in Galveston, Texas.
so,
Wow.
That's pretty
and
cool.
yeah, and we also have I believe he was a sergeant. Well, he was one of our sergeants, where he would go to a house to do a death notification or emergency notification. When he walked to the front door, if he could smell death himself, he knew that the people inside knew that their loved one or whoever it was they're doing the emergency message knew they were dead. If he got to the door to knock on the door and there was no smell or anything, then the folks inside did not know this person was deceased, and they did the message. So again, that's it's just interesting stories, encounters. So you know that when the ME shows up, you wonder, what do they experience when they go into that house that has no electricity and they go up to do the investigation. So that's an excellent idea. I think maybe we should, when we do our
Expand.
next talk in Phenomicon, maybe
Yeah.
we need to bring that up.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
just thinking about that because I've been on, hundreds and hundreds of medical examiner calls and transporting to the ME's office,
yeah.
and I've seen all kinds of different things myself personally. But yeah, it's that is amazing though. The story you told about the lights being on and just different phenomena like that happens, or even body movements or certain things you feel when you go into a place, or certain entities or spirits that you feel. And, you talked about the smell of death. It's a smell that you can never forget. It's got a particular smell, and it's weird because it's been months since I went on a death call because I used to do it part time just here recently, and sometimes I'll catch just the smell of that. And it's amazing how you said that he could walk onto the porch, the investigator, and have that smell, and how that it was kind of a telltale sign that the people knew that someone had died. Um, that's really fascinating, and I was just thinking about that as we was talking about last responders, and I just want to bring that up to you all. I mean, because they, like I said, they do have lots of stories too, so
Yeah.
it'd be pretty cool to explore that and get to hear different stories from around the country or around the world, what people
my
that
goodness,
work
yeah.
in death care have experienced. So
And
They do work with the police. I mean, they are definitely part of the team, especially the autopsies and things. So yeah, that's actually a great idea.
yeah, they've helped us a lot when we went on death scenes. If we needed extra lift assist, we had the fire department come out. Of course, when there were homicides, There were always detectives around, so we got to know all the police, all the law enforcement in the area, and worked really, really extensively with them, and had great relationships with them, and have a lot of funny stories to tell as well, because there's a lot of comical things that happen. You both know that.
Oh, yeah.
Not to make light of the situation, but there's a lot of comical things that happen behind the scenes that people don't see. That you could sit back and give you something to laugh about when you feel kind of down or depressed, because it is very depressing too. But,
well, and that's what you're speaking about there, Bishop Joshua, is gallows humor. It's something that everybody has a former homicide detective. Marianne is a police officer as well. You hit the nail right on the head. As you go on these scenes and you go on these incidents that are just so horrific, that your brain has to find a way to cope with it, because otherwise you're just going to curl up into a ball in the corner. Yeah. And so the way that we kind of do it is by joking. And I know some people might say it's insensitive, but it's not insensitive. It's a coping mechanism to help navigate those situations. But it's all over the country, all over the world. You go to any first responder, and it goes on death call notifications, ME's office, things like that. They're all going to tell you the same thing. I got stories that we'll be laughing and going, "What are we laughing about?" But it's how you cope.
And I was thinking about Marianne, because she is going to be she's at a conference tomorrow, or you're there now, I believe, and you're going to be talking.
Well, I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico right now.
Yeah, and then you're going
I drove to Santa Fe, spent the night. I'm headed up to Alamosa, Colorado tomorrow. But it's called the Snippy Conference, and it's on the King Ranch, which is in how do we say that? Mosca.
Yeah, the King
Colorado,
Ranch,
which is on the ranch, which is in the San Luis Valley. So, Bishop, like you're talking about, I might not see anything tonight because after this I'm going to bed. However, I'm going to be in the San Luis Valley in Colorado this whole weekend. It's Friday through Sunday, and there's going to be a whole bunch of different speakers that are going to be there. But the San Luis Valley is known for all types of, as everybody calls it, high strangeness.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping, I've got my night vision, I've got everything. I'm hoping, well, I don't know. Again, you be careful what you wish for. Totally. I get that. But just real quick, in case anybody's wondering what the Snippy Conference is all about, the event is named for the Snippy the horse, which was a 3-year-old Appaloosa mare who mysteriously died in 1967 in the San Luis Valley. And it became one of the most famous alleged cattle horse mutilation cases in the UFO community. So I don't know how many years they've been doing this conference. I know at least 2 years they've been doing it. I'm going up to promote UAP PD and see what it's all about. But there's going to be, it goes from the metaphysics to the paranormal. There is, they even go into astronomy and UFO. So it's really kind of cool. But it's going to be a 3-day conference up there. So I'm looking forward to it. I maybe see a little something. We'll see. We'll have to be on again, and I can report to you guys if I see it.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
I'm sorry?
Famous last words.
Oh, I know.
She's going to get abducted, and then she's going to take over and come fly in the spacecraft and pick you up, Dave. And
check this out.
Hey, check this new ride out I got. Come on, let's go.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be, it'll be it sounds like it's going to be really great. And, it's in honor of that horse.
Exactly.
So that's good.
We
figure out what happened.
Exactly. And hopefully I'll get to hear more of the history. But we met Carrie King, one of the founders of the Snippy Conference. at Contact in the Desert this past year, and he's just a neat guy. And I hear they put on a really, really cool conference. So I'm looking forward to learning about all that.
That's awesome. You guys are really moving around and doing a lot right now. Wow. That's amazing. What about you, Dave? I know you've got the two coming up. Two big ones. Three, actually.
Three.
Three.
I'm basically still working. So I'm no longer a police officer. I retired from police work, but I still have to go to work. So somebody, not mentioning any names, Marianne, gets to go driving around and visit all these cool places. I get to go to work. Yay. So
well, someday.
That's it. We're hoping. But the other thing is, I'm really glad, and I feel I'm blessed that I am totally retired. I can travel if I need to travel. It's because what we tell law enforcement officers, first responders, and now last responders, if they feel more comfortable talking to us in person, not on Zoom, not a phone call, they would rather have us face to face. Plus, yes, we definitely are police officers. I will travel wherever I need to go to speak with these guys in person and get their story and talk to them there. So that's why I just, like I said, I feel blessed that I can do that. And that's helped people come forward a little bit more and feel comfortable contacting us. So
you had a lot of people there at the event. I think more people came to see you guys than any of the other people that were speaking, for sure. And I mean, I think it just really shows that it's touching the lives of these people. They're like, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to go.
It's because we're funny looking.
Speak for yourself.
I mean,
I'm funny looking.
Y'all give people an outlet to, people to be able to talk to, people, support network. I mean, as a therapist, I work with people that are battling with addiction every day. And, it's a proven fact that, when people leave treatment, even if they leave against medical advice, if they go that same day to an AA meeting or an NA meeting, there's an 80% chance that they'll stay sober for a year. Because it's about connection. Dr. Johan Hari said the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. So finding somebody that you can connect to that has the same, beliefs or the same experiences, or who's willing to listen and without judgment. I mean, that means a lot,
Yeah, and I think that's truly why we have, I know I joke a lot. I mean, you guys have known me now for a while. I do a lot of humor. But the reality is I think the reason that we get so many people that show up to our stage presentations, tune into the podcast, have joined our Facebook page is because we provide that unique outlet. You have an experience, you don't know who to talk to. Hey, there's these people that have training, know how to negotiate high stress situations, and they're willing to talk and not be judgmental and not be trying to tell me anything. So that's why, we don't really do a lot of investigating. We'll investigate stuff that we find interesting, but we don't want to be looking at people going, well, that wasn't a UFO, that was a crop duster, or that was a drone, or that wasn't a ghost, it was a trick of the light. Because to that person, that was still a traumatic experience. We want to help them negotiate that, but we also don't want to be accusatory or diminish it in any way, shape, or form. We want to help them get through it. And the way to start getting through it is to just be present and not be judgmental and do something that I find incredibly difficult, which is not say anything and listen.
And you find that's interesting, and you find that difficult.
Well, yeah, because I'm always talking.
Yeah. So, this is really, were you, were both of you interested in almost in counseling and things like that in your lives? Because really, that's kind of what you've become, is a listener, a counselor.
Well, that's what a cop is. I mean, really, a police officer is, we have to go into a scene, whether it's a domestic where here we are arresting mom, dad, or mom and dad, and we have to counsel these kids because they're like, oh my gosh, their lives are falling apart. One of the things that I've done is I was a crisis intervention officer. So I would go to these people that wanted to commit suicide, or they were just so depressed they just needed to talk. So I did that, and I that's one of the things is I just love to listen to people, whether I was on the job or even off the job. Let's just sit and talk.
For me, I was a school resource officer at a junior high and a high school. Those kids are all going through issues. And what I did was I was that one adult that they could go talk to who wasn't a teacher, wasn't going to give them homework, wasn't going to get them in trouble, that they could come and talk about their breakup or talk about not making the sports team or stuff like that. And I was able to help them negotiate those things and navigate those stressors in life. Because you look at like a 9th, 10th, 11th, 12-year-old or 12th grader,
Yeah.
They got so many things going on. They need someone to talk to. So yeah, we kind of have all along, I guess, kind of on a certain level, been counselors. We're just kind of taking those skills and repurposing them in a new arena.
The two most important
amazing.
people in our schools when I went to school was the janitor and the school resource officer, two most popular guys.
Mhm.
And our school resource officer, he passed away a few years ago in an accident. He just devastated our community. Everybody loved him. He was probably one of the greatest men that I've ever met. Really loved all of us and really cared about us. And you could tell he cared. He was always present. And, he was our go-to guy when we had problems, when we had something we needed to talk about. And then, of course, the janitor. I still see my janitor from junior high school, and he still looks like he did all them years ago, 35, 40, 35, 38 years ago or whatever. But, and we still talk, he always asks me if I'm still as mean as I ever was, No, Charlie, I'm not as mean as I used to be. He says, well, I am. I'm still just as mean as I used to be. But he was so great, and so I appreciate you for doing that, and being an ear to those young people. It's very important. And,
Yeah.
I think that, anything you do when you're in public service, you have to be a counselor. You have to be able to listen. One of my grandpa always used to tell me, God give you 2 ears and one mouth because he wants you to listen twice as much as you talk. So I think that's what helped me to become a good counselor is just being able to listen. And I do appreciate that, because that's a skill that not everybody has. I mean, truly listen, not just saying, oh, yeah. I mean, just really listening to people. And people know, when you care. I've always said people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So
That's it. We've had officers that would either call us and do an interview, or matter of fact, we just had an interview with a retired officer from the Phoenix area that had a homicide.
92.
Some odd 92.
92.
So okay, so 30 years ago,
Wow.
and all he wanted to do was share his story with us, because 30 some odd years ago, when he had this homicide, where he actually had a medium direct him or steer him in the right direction of where the body was.
Okay.
So he had all this that he never shared with anybody. And we sat down with him, and it was, my goodness, 2.5 hours or so interview. And the last thing he told us when we were about to leave is he said, thank you. I finally can get it out. I could share. He got it out from inside, and he was able to just free him.
Wow.
We've had 4 or 5 different officers that after it was over, all they did was they thanked us just for listening. That's all they wanted, was to share it, to get it off their chest.
Well, it's a unique career. I mean, we talk about first responders, last responders, things like that. It's that type of career where you see these horrible things and you don't want to bring them home and tell your family. You don't want to tell your friends. It's not something that you're going to go to the ball game and tell your buddy while you're watching the football game about a dead body that you went on. It's stuff that you get we become masters of compartmentalizing. We take all the stuff, we put it in a box, stick it on a shelf, and we don't worry about it. And eventually all those shelves get filled with boxes of stuff that we don't want to talk about. And eventually they start popping open. And so what we're doing is we're providing that out where they can get some of those boxes open and talk about it. Like what Marianne said is he thanked us just for listening. That's all we needed to do, was to provide him with two people that would sit at a table with him, let him talk, let him get it off his chest, let him talk about things. I mean, he probably said 3 or 4 times during that interview, I've never told anybody this, but blah. And then he would say it. And you could see, like, he cried a little bit. We've had a couple of first responders break down while we were talking to him. And that's, I hate to say it because, we're all tough guys and stuff like that, but that's the best thing, because that means you're really hitting them. They're really hitting those emotions. Those deep-seated feelings are really coming out. And that's where you make the most headway and where you truly help people. I mean, Bishop Joshua, you know what it's like. You know, when you really start talking to somebody and they really open up, you're making headway.
Well, and just talking on that's why we try to reiterate to everybody, we are not investigators. We are not going to take your story and go out and try to do an investigation to see what you saw. And then we're going to come up with a conclusion. That's not what we're doing. We are here for them to share their stories, get it off their chest, so they are not stressed like how Dave was back in 2017 all the way to 2022 and had to keep his mouth shut. So that's why we try to tell them, look, we don't want to investigate you, because they're like, oh, they're gonna investigate and they're gonna find out I'm a crackpot and that was just a satellite or something. So that's why we need to make people understand, no, we're not there to investigate. We are there to just talk and let you share your story and make you understand that, no, you're not crazy. You saw something.
Yeah.
And just know that, no, you can go on with life. Unfortunately, you did see something, and it's not explainable, but you don't need to keep it inside, and you don't need to keep thinking you're going to get fired or the stigmas are going to come out. People are going to laugh at you.
Yeah, and I know we touched on this the last time we were on, that level of trauma, whether you see a light in the sky that ended up being a UFO, like an alien spacecraft, or you see a light in the sky that just ended up being the International Space Station, your brain is still responding the same way. You're seeing something you don't understand. That psychological trauma is still there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do anybody any good for us to look at them and be accusatory or be like, well, that wasn't a spacecraft, so we don't want to talk to you. That was just the International Space Station. What we do is we want to help them negotiate that. Like when we do go out, like Marianne and I will every once in a while go out on investigations when we find something that is interesting, but it usually tends to not be in conjunction with a story, but it's like a conjunction with like a location that may have had a number of things happening at it. Because again, we don't want to try and make people be like, oh, if I tell them this and they're going to go try and find it, and then they're going to tell us that they may ask us, hey, what do you think it is? And we'll tell them what we think it is. But the reality is like, we don't know. We weren't there. And we can say, hey, you know what? And gathering all these stories, we're getting all this information about different entities, different creatures, different UFOs and alien entities and things like that. So they can explain the situation. We can take it down, and then they inevitably look at us and go, well, what do you think it is? And we'll say, well, you know what? There's about 3 different things that it could be. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this. And then we talk about what that is and kind of like help them negotiate what it is. And we let them kind of work their way through it. And a lot of times that happens to be all they need, is they just need that non-judgmental ear that is going to listen to them and give them a little bit of insight, and more importantly, just let them get it out.
Yeah. This is so interesting. We're talking about trauma tonight. I mean, I just did the class yesterday where it was about trauma and the chakras, and I never know what's going to happen, but there were at least 4 people that spoke about how they remembered the trauma, as some of them were like 25 years prior or 18 years. And then it's like the trauma had come up, but I asked for it. I tried to do all of it to where it's comes up easily and we release that, right? But the fact that the trauma was embedded in them, in their mind, they hadn't even thought about it, but then it came out, which is what I was wanting and asking for. But the fact is what you're, it's basically the same as what you're saying. It's like the trauma that these people, and I personally have had trauma over unexplained activities and ghosts, and there's some of them have been horrifying, but I've worked through it. So I think, but if I hadn't had somebody to talk to or somebody to help me, I would still be back at square one. So what you're doing is really amazing. So and I love the fact I did not know that you both were in a way really counseling too. I wasn't putting those pieces together. I knew you were listening and I knew that it was evidence and things like that, but just to know more about this counseling part of it, it's really comforting. There's another thing I was thinking about, because I told Marianne, and I posted it on the public, in the public now, that I get to be that Arizona person for the Phantoms and Monsters with Lon Strickler. So when you're talking to me, I'm thinking, wow, maybe this is something I could connect with you where we could help more.
Mhm.
Like I could share whatever, we could connect. I'll find out. Maybe I could even connect more where we could do another show where we talk about, Arizona people. I know we need to go worldwide too for you guys, but since you are in Arizona and I am part of the Arizona team here, so maybe I could help with that.
That'd be great.
Way. I will look into that. Joshua, so I know you've got another amazing question somewhere up your sleeve right now.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, there's a lot of things that people see and experience, and a lot of cross phenomena and the overlap. I've seen, I watch all these stories and these podcasts online. Police officers, ambulance workers, firefighters. Um, when they talk about UFOs, paranormal activity, even environmental disturbances, and when they appear together, the mystery just deepens. So my question is, have you encountered cases where multiple phenomena overlap in ways that suggest a unified source?
Mm, good question.
That one.
Well,
Marianne wins. Ding ding.
I
was
think
quick.
I'll let Marianne answer. No.
I'm just thinking
So
the mission.
yeah, so that's the one that comes to my mind. We think so. There is a mission here in Arizona. We're not going to tell you the name of it because it is still an active mission. On Sunday mornings, you can go to church there. But we had 5 stories from different police officers that had something happen at that mission. Everything from seeing a cryptozoological creature that could be like a skinwalker to ghostly phenomenon to little people, the entities known as little people,
Yeah.
to demonic eyes that show up in the rearview mirror of cars when they're driving by. So we ended up going out, and that was one of our big investigations because the one commonality through it all was the location. So, but we had paranormal, we had cryptozoological, we even had people that have seen not that far from their lights in the sky that they thought were even UFOs. So to a certain point, we almost kind of looked at it as like South Central Arizona's own version of almost like Skinwalker Ranch, where you have a single location that has a number of different phenomenon happening
Yeah.
that are, when you look at them on the surface, you'd be like, well, they're not related, except for the fact that they're all happening at this same location.
Yeah.
And so that is interesting in that respect because it makes me think, kind of like what you're saying there, Joshua, is are they linked? Because what are the odds that all these different types of phenomenon are all going to happen at the same location in like different like arenas of activity? And so there is commonality. And then you've got, I mean, we've seen David Paulides talking about the link between UFOs and
Yeah.
Bigfoot sightings being like there's an increase in UFO sightings when there's an increase of Bigfoot sightings in the same national forests and stuff like that. You see television shows like we talk about this when we're doing our stage presentation about how as UAP PD, because we focus on the first responders, we kind of look at paranormal, cryptozoological, and supernatural or UFOs, ufology. We even created a fourth category that we call psionics because there are other things that are going on that don't quite fit into all of them. But there is a defined overlap in all of them. And the examples that we give is like David Paulides and the UFOs and the Bigfoot. You have TV shows like the old Travel Channel TV show Terror in the Woods had the link between like Bigfoot type creatures and the supernatural.
Yeah.
And then the only one that we had a harder time kind of finding the solution to was UFOs and the paranormal. And the reality is what came to the conclusion is people talk about seeing orbs. And whenever somebody says, "Oh, we saw orbs," our initial instinct is, "Oh, do you mean orbs like flying in the sky or orbs like in a haunted house?" And then that was the moment where we realized, "Oh, yeah, there's the link. There's some sort of energy, I don't want to say discharge, but energy manifestation in both these lights in the sky that could be UFOs or extraterrestrial craft or something like that, and the entities moving through an abandoned house or a highly stressed area."
Yeah, Dave, that's like here. That's like what the documentary, I mean, all of that's here. And I'm wondering, this mission, would it happen to be in, I mean, is it like somewhere closer to me in my, because there is a mission.
It's closer to us up by the Phoenix area.
Wow, that sounds very interesting.
But I mean, if you think about it, there's
everywhere.
There. If it's happening there, it can be happening multiple places because you've got ley lines, you've got different areas where there's high strangeness. Like Trey Hudson and the Meadow Project is very similar to Skinwalker Ranch, which is very similar to Bradshaw Ranch, which is very similar to this mission, which is very similar to the Mission Bayou. So we know that this is a phenomenon that is happening in multiple locations. So there has to be some sort of connection.
I think it's the water too.
That could be.
If you think about like one of the studies, well, everybody knows pretty much, but the Hohokam and a lot of these tribes, there's the water, the waterways, and I mean they're still under there. And so when I was getting that. I just think it has to do with this water, and then the UFO sightings here, and then the missile silos, and then the Native Americans and the curses, and all of all of these things are just like, I mean, I don't know. In your area, we've got there is a lot of stuff in those mountains. Like they see the lights, and there's a lot of history with the Native American tribes, and they talk about it. It's like the gateway to the spirit or something. It's called something. I can't remember the name of it right now. But oh my God, this is so cool! Wow.
That's like one of the things with like the TV show The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Like they talk about electricity moving through the ground. Well, if you think about it, if there are underground waterways with water traveling over certain minerals, they're going to create an electrical charge. It's going to discharge somewhere. Maybe it's responsible for a lot of the sightings. But I know that there was one episode where they plugged a light bulb into the ground and plugged the battery like way over here into the ground, and it lit up the light bulb. The electricity traveled through the earth to light up the light bulb, signifying that there is something in the makeup of the ground that is conducting electricity. So if you have water traveling through these underground things with material like that, it's no different than like a hydroelectric plant where we're generating power by water flowing through these turbines, through these different things and building up a charge. It's just a natural phenomenon as opposed to at a dam that was made. But that could be part of what it is. Now, does it explain all of it? Not necessarily, but it's definitely something we can look into.
Yeah, sounds very interesting. Oh, I love it. All right, so I don't know how much time we've still got a lot of time. Good.
We've still got about 12 minutes. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yes. Well, one thing I wanted to kind of ask about too was, have you had any like recent cases? I know you talked about some things that have really kind of stood out to you, or that have been like just really insane, or any of the last few months. Has anything kind of come up that you found out about that you wanted to talk about?
Well, we've got the one from the Phoenix area, but one of the ones it's not a recent story, as in, oh, this happened in 2024. A lot of the stories we're getting just a few months ago, but they were stories that happened like in 2015.
Wow.
So that's our, everybody wants body cam footage. Everybody wants all this great stuff. Well, that's great. But we're getting officers and first responders that are from, saying, hey,
Yeah.
this happened, like the one that we just talked about, 1992. But we just did an interview with him 3 weeks ago. It's because, again, they compartmentalize. Wow, that's a big word. Everything. And then they hear about this UAP PD and they're like, oh, I want to get that story out, like we talked about. Well, one of the stories that we got, it was probably about 3-4 months ago. There was an officer I'm just going to say it was the west side of the Phoenix area. And it was his deal was in 2015. He was working the property room of the police department, and he was he just went into the big storage facility. It's just this big, huge warehouse, and he's in there and he's documenting some things, and he starts hearing stuff in the far corner, and he's like, what in the world? And as he rounded the corner, he saw this lady that was standing there in the far corner of the property room. Now, this is a big warehouse, and he's like, you're not supposed to be here. So he's trying to get a hold of her to say, why is this lady in this in this property room, which is totally off limits to anybody? So he goes around trying to find her, nothing. And after he did a thorough investigation, he went out and talked to the supervisor, and he goes, I'm seeing a lady in this corner in the property room. What in the world is it? Well, come to find out is that this lady was murdered by her husband probably about a year or so prior to, and all of her property and everything is in that back corner in that property room. And they're seeing her just walking around in the property room.
Wow. Yeah.
Said, it was a 2015 case, but again, we just got the case not too long ago because people are finally hearing about us. And, he was just like, this is a case I've got to talk about and kind of get this off of my chest. So that was kind of an interesting one.
That really is.
I think a lot of the body cam footage that everybody wants so desperately, we do have like at least one case that has really good body cam footage. We have some video and stuff on some other stuff. But the reality is that the body cams are still a relatively new technology. Mm-hmm. By law enforcement standards, they're like practically brand new. Mm-hmm. So you have it's all these younger officers that really aren't super established in their position yet. And you're going to find, like, when 2017 happened and that sergeant told me to not talk about it, I didn't talk about it. 6 years later, I'm on my way out the door, I'm willing to talk about it. So you get a lot of these newer officers that are working the graveyard shift. They may have stuff on body cam, but they just don't feel comfortable releasing it yet or letting anybody know about it. So we are really finding stories that are a little bit older from these first responders, because these are the guys that are like, yeah, I'll talk about it now. I don't care. What are they going to do? Are they going to fire me? What? I'm retired. But I think that as time progresses, this is like one of those things that there are first responders like tonight somewhere in the world are going to have some sort of some sort of incident that they're not going to be able to explain. And who's to say we may not get that story a year from now?
Right.
So it's one of those things that the longer we exist, I think we cannot help but accumulate more stories. We're always getting more stories. And it's not because like the activity I think is ramping up. It's just that the people that are seeing them are becoming more comfortable with the idea of reaching out and talking to people about them. And so that's where I think like the benefit of doing podcasts like this, doing the stage presentations, doing all of the news articles and things like that that we have, it can only help because it's allowing more people to be like, hey, who are these people from Arizona? What are they doing? And then
Yeah.
the more they hear about us, the more they see what we're doing, the more comfortable with the idea of, yeah, you know what? I had something that happened a year ago. Maybe I'll go talk to them.
Absolutely.
And
I'd like to hear from some people if they're watching, because back in the 80s, I remember every funeral home ran ambulance services as well. So I remember watching a video of this guy that was working for his father. They run ambulance service. And when the crash happened in Roswell, New Mexico, they were one of the first ones on the scene.
Wow.
And he was intimidated by the military. They tried to play it off as a weather balloon, but he saw the bodies of these beings. And he's an older man in this video. I have to find the video and send it to you all, let you watch it. It was really fascinating because he finally came out and told some of the things that he's seen and kind of got it off his chest and was able to be free because we carry things. Trauma causes us to bury things, to suppress it. Of course, over time you get better at dealing with triggers because it's something you're running from anyway. So you learn to suppress it. But some people feel like they can't die until they share those stories that they've hidden inside. So to have a way to do that, is very important. And it's important what you all do. The support that you offer. I mean, you are building a support network of men and women who work as first responders all over the world, a place where they can come and you got that camaraderie, that familiarity because you're fellow officers, but they also have a place where they can unwind and be able to just be themselves and feel comfortable sharing all the things that they've experienced. And I'm really grateful for what you do. Really am.
Thank you.
and anonymous too. I mean, I was thinking the newer people that you're talking about that have the body cams. I mean, this could be shared anonymously, so it just that they could talk to you. It's not like you have to talk about it or share anything. So I'm sure that's the truth. I mean, I'm sure everything is anonymous, everything is private.
Cool. Absolutely. And we let the first responder dictate how much information we release. We have stories that the officer or the firefighter said, I don't want you sharing this. And so we have those stories. One of our greatest, in my opinion, our greatest story ever, even better than my story, we told the guy we wouldn't talk about it, so we won't talk about it. Yeah. But we let the officer say, we've had some guys be like, please use my story. If it's going to help another guy who's going through this problem feel comfortable enough to talk, then please use it. And so we have guys saying you can use the story, but don't use my name. You can use my name, but don't just use my first name. Don't use the name of the agency. So it's what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Is what we will do. And even if it's, I don't want you to share the story with anyone, that's fine. Still call us. We're going to give you a sounding board. We're going to take that information down and we're going to help you negotiate what's going on.
Yeah, just real quick, just one quick little story. This is like kind of a UFO light in the sky. It was up in the area in Forest Lakes, Arizona. So it's kind of north of the Phoenix area. And this actually is in the same area as where Travis Walton was abducted. What was that, 1975?
Yeah.
And the sheriff's deputy, and I don't remember, I want to say it was only a few years ago. I can't remember the actual date.
Yeah, it was only like maybe 6 years ago.
But this officer goes from the Flagstaff area to Forest Lakes to answer a burglary alarm call. As he's leaving that area to head back to his station, all of a sudden, out the side of his passenger side window, he sees this huge ball of light that's just hovering above the trees. He pulls over. He actually, I believe, gets out of his vehicle, shuts the vehicle off, gets out of the car. There's no sound whatsoever. This thing is not too far away. And he takes his flashlight and he's flashing at it, and it's flashing back at him.
Wow.
I think he was there for maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. He said, I'm out. And car, and he probably went maybe 100 miles an hour back to his station. But again, he's still working. So he did not, he says, I needed to share the story with you, but you can't. And he has a very unique name, so he doesn't want to use the name or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he could say where from the Flagstaff and the Forest Lakes area. But again, that's a story that we've gotten, correlates to the area of where old Travis Walton back in 1975, where he was abducted.
Yeah, they're out there. I mean, it's very, very clear. We just had that wonderful guy, John Carpenter, and we're going to have him back again. And oh my gosh, when you listen to him talk, it's so, he has so much information that hasn't, that he's seen and shared or has, shared, but it's actually kind of coming out now that he's actually sharing more. So
Cool.
we are, and I think he calls it, like you just mentioned a minute ago, Joshua, like a new frontier. So he said something that the other day about the new frontier, and I really think that's really what this is. And both of you, literally, obviously, this is something very important, because look, you're going to be in Phenomicon. Phenomicon, people, what's Phenomicon? Well, I know what it is, and I know it's very big. So it's a big event now. It's one. If I were to want to go to one, that would be the one. So just to even go see everybody that's going to talk, that's how much I think it's a big, event. So congratulations.
Well, you can always come up and hang out with us at our table.
I know. I'm going to. Maybe you're not. I don't know. I'm not the best traveler. But I want to. I'm getting better. Then we're having to travel more now. So, we have a lot of animals. Yeah, we have a lot of animals. It's hard to leave them, but we have family here that watches after them. So I can do that now. So wow, this has been so amazing. We'll have to have you back.
An hour just ain't long enough with these two.
I know.
Sorry.
We'll have to. And the fact that we're in Arizona, you're in Arizona. I know, Josh, you're not in Arizona.
I'm over here in the East Coast.
Yeah, but that's really neat that we're in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're
anyway,
all on the same screen in the same little box together.
That's right. Well, why don't you go ahead, and I included the link to UAP PD in the chat. So I would love for you just to go ahead and share if there's anything specifically that you'd like to share before we end the show. Please do that now.
Well, like we always say when we end a show or our presentation, is if you are a law enforcement officer or first responder, and now a last responder, and if you've seen something that you cannot explain and you've never talked about it because of the stigma, the ridicule, please contact us at uap-pd.com. Also, we have a Facebook page. Please come on, share your encounters with us. Again, we'll be more than happy to come meet you wherever you are if you feel more comfortable getting the story. And also, we say you are the one to control the interview. Either you can remain anonymous or you could be identified. It's up to you. And we really appreciate anyone. Please come and meet with us. Come and talk to us.
Yeah, don't forget that we have the 3 events that we know of that are coming up. You can find information on that on, I believe, our Facebook page. We have it listed.
Yes.
So please, if you're anywhere in the Arizona or Utah area and you want to come and check us out, we would love to meet you face to face. Both the Superstition Museum one and the Globe one, they're doing ghost hunts that evening. And we are going to stick around. So if you want to come and do a ghost hunt with 2 professional and, police investigators, might be pretty entertaining. The last time we did it, we had eight people, I think, with us, and they saw some interesting stuff, and
Wow.
they really seemed to enjoy it. So,
And those are going to be very good locations too. Very, very the super. I mean, both of those areas are very interesting areas. High phenomena. Well, thank you so much for being here. And Joshua, do you want to say anything before we close the show?
It's just a wonderful show. Like we mentioned, the unexplained isn't a story; it's a frontier. Um, the people who step into it with integrity and experience, like Marianne and Dave, are the ones helping us map the edges of a reality we're only beginning to understand. So, and as I always say every week, stay curious, stay discerning, and above all, stay ready, because the next case, the next encounter, the next revelation may be the one that changes everything.
True. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you too for being here with us. And we want to have you back again as soon as you can come back.
absolutely.
That would be great.
Please.
We'd love it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
And thank you to our amazing producer, Stan Fikes, who just had a phenomenal event with Deep South Comic Con in Alabama. It was, from what I hear, it was like off the charts amazing. So congratulations to the Web Radio Network, Stan and Teresa Fikes. They got a lot of kudos, and everybody just said how wonderful they were. I wasn't there, but I watched all the media, the different things on social media. So congratulations to them. And next week, we have my friend, our friend, Reverend Bill Bean, will be with us talking about his new book and also talking about his part in my life and how he's in this documentary I put that is out now on a lot of streaming platforms. I know for sure it's on a free one called Fossum TV.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can watch it now. So please do. It's called Shadows of the Desert, the Sacred Lands of Arizona. And Reverend Bill Bean will be here talking about that. So I'm super excited to have Bill on. And thank you very much, everyone, for being with us. Good night, and God bless everybody. And stay safe.